So if you're especially clever, you'll realize that this video and the other video appear to have been recorded in the same evening. That is in fact the case. On the note of wanting to post things about being vegan or fledgling vegan, I'm still in the learning stage of figuring out what I can and can't eat, or well, it's not what I can't eat, what I choose not to eat. I thought I'd just outline what I did to decide to become a vegan in the first place. I've been a vegetarian for about 6 months now. Well, that in itself is the story. But yeah, so I've been a vegetarian for 6 months, and the more I learn about things, the less I'm inclined to eat anything from anything else that was alive in the same way that I am. So when I decided to become a vegetarian, it was suggested to me that I watch a video called Food Inc. by a friend of mine who was already a vegan and had been a vegetarian for 2 years prior to that. Because I've been talking about vegetarianism and how I thought it was sort of silly, and he was like, "Oh well, if you think it's silly, you should watch this video." And I was like, "Okay, cool, I'll watch this video." Shocked the hell out of me. I was like, "Oh my god, I don't want to eat food ever again. I'm never eating again, never." It's about the American food industry. I'm sorry, everybody, that's American, but the American food industry is possibly the most disgusting thing the human race has ever done, ever. Like, I don't know what we were thinking. I group us together there. And it talks about how animals are fed food they don't usually eat naturally, and are fed hormones and injected with hormones and kept really close together in like battery farms, and how that's really terrible. It's really cruel to the animal. Not only that though, also the products they create are harmful to us as well, because of the chemicals that they've put into them. Obviously they haven't done a lot of research because this is only just new. They're only just sort of starting to think about this kind of thing, but it can really cause some pretty serious health problems. Like mad cow was stemmed from feeding slaughtered cow, like the parts of the cow that the English food industry and the American food industry didn't want to sell but didn't want to waste, so they basically forced their animals into cannibalism, which is sort of awful, like, obviously. Yeah, so I watched that in August with my housemate, and I decided to eat non-GM, non-genetically modified foods, and organic wherever possible. It's really hard, especially on student budgets, to eat organically. Organic food is obviously more expensive because the natural pesticides, if they're used at all, are like, there's different grades of organic, but the way that the plants are cared for is obviously more expensive if you can't just like spray the crap out of them with pesticides and herbicides and stuff like that. So yeah, I first started off being like, I'm only going to eat free range organic meat. I did that for about a week before the thought of meat was just weird and creepy and gross. Which it still is. I don't think the last thing I ate was like a chicken curry, and I pretty much cried my way through it. It was terrible. And I decided to stop drinking milk. Shortly after that, I like got onto soy milk. I have soy milk in my Hannah Montana cup just here. And then I went back onto milk for a bit, and then I went back onto soy milk, and I did that for a bit. Like, I don't know, I don't really want to be vegan. It's hard and stuff. It's just so terribly hard. Brush. So yeah, but then I researched a bit more, and my housemate Jess showed me some more videos of people who had done lectures and talks on veganism and stuff like that. So I started to get more into it. Today I watched the documentary that pretty much like stuck home. It's informative. It's not like this is why you should be a vegan. It's like, what are we doing to animals and ourselves by doing this to animals? What kind of creatures are we if we can do this, especially with our higher intelligence, if we understand animals and if we think we're more intelligent so that they don't feel the way we do? We have enough cognition to see that they actually do respond to pain and fear the same way that we would, because they're vertebrate animals. I have spine. I'm an animal. I'm a vertebrate animal. I'm a mammal. So are you. Probably. I hope so. Anyway, all the dogs out there, what's up? Yeah. And that outlined, that was Earthlings, by the way, Earthlings, which came out a few years ago, I think. Jess was like, oh, it's terrible, you have to watch it. Oh, don't watch it by yourself. Like, I watched most of it like, yeah, I'm listening, I'm hearing what you're saying, but I don't want to look at what you're showing me. That's how terrible it is. So, yeah, Earthlings outlines 5 ways that we abuse animals, sort of like pets, food, clothing, entertainment, and medical testing, all of which were terrible. I do roller derby. I am not buying leather skates now. No. It's good because Rydell makes vegan skates anyway. But, yeah, it's just a lot to think about. Like, if you're not already a vegetarian... So I don't have a problem... Before I'm like, if you're not a vegetarian, you should be. Before I do this, I don't have a problem with omnivorous people. I know as humans that we were designed or evolved, maybe we're evolving away from, but we do eat meat and stuff. So, you know, and I don't have a problem with people eating meat. Like, if that's what you want to do, that's cool. My problem comes when people are not informed about it. Like, if you know that these details about the food industry and how it's terrible for animals and la GM, haha, and you don't care and you choose to eat it anyway, that's fine. Like, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. That's not what I chose to do, so I expect the same respect back towards me. I found out about GM, animal treatment, gross things in milk, nasty living conditions for animals, and was like, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't condone an industry or support an industry who over farms for excess consumption of a world that doesn't eat all the dead animals it's producing, especially when it costs more to keep a cow alive than it does to, like, feed a family. And there's, like, starving children in Africa, and you're like, oh, how cliche, but it's true. Like, come on, guys. You know, like, we're killing all these cows for fresh meat produce, and we're not eating it all because, you know, it's like supply and demand, and I don't want to be a part of that industry, so I choose not to buy it. I realise that my choosing not to buy it may not necessarily make a difference, but if we all became vegan, it would, because they'd panic. They'd be like, how do we get them to eat meat again? And I guess I now have sort of a mental block about meat because it's just like, it's flesh, like, no, I don't want to. But I guess if living conditions were different, it was back in the old days where, you know, your dad would go out and sit with Bessie the cow and pat her on the head and then, like, kill her nicely. Like, that's sort of different to hang you upside down, poke you with a cattle prod, cut your neck, let you drown in your own blood while you're hanging upside down so you die. Like, it's terrible. Nobody wants to do that. So this has been a really long video. Ask me questions. I want to know stuff about you, and I want you to know stuff about me, and I want to learn about veganism, vegetarianism, why you think I'm stupid, why you think I'm crazy, why you think I should not have blue hair. I don't care. I want to know things, and I want you to be on this journey with me. So basically the reason I became a vegetarian, Food Inc., the reason I became a vegan, Earthlings. Watch them. And get back to me on that. Cool. Have a good night.